All right, this sticky notes is on the nature of science and how the scientific inquiry works. So we are starting on page 11, okay? So the first section here talks about what is science. A lot of people get confused by what a theory and a law is in science, and this has kind of led to a lot of the most recent fake science kind of arguments. If you read through what a theory and a law is here, I think you're going to find that science is always changing. There's not one definitive answer. There's just whatever we found at that particular moment based upon research and all the knowledge gathered together. And in a few years, that can change. And that's one of the big differences between a natural science theory and a science law. And kind of take a look at those two things. All right, let's turn to page 12, please. All right. It talks about what you have to do to have good science. Definitely, good scientists have to be able to make observations. And there's a couple different types of observations and data that can be collected. They fall into two categories, quantitative and qualitative. And notice these two words are actually not found in the text, but you're going to hear me using those words a lot this year, quantitative and qualitative data. So I'd like for you to research these two different terms and be able to explain to me what the difference is between quantitative and qualitative data and be able to give some examples of each as well. I'm going to be looking for that and the next time we meet all together in Zoom, quantitative and qualitative data. All right, we move over to the next side here. And I'd like to take a second talking about how scientists have to be skeptics. That means a scientist, and you hopefully as well, does not necessarily just believe something because it's shown to you. You can't believe a Facebook post just because it's on Facebook, or a tweet because somebody important tweeted it. That's not how science works. That's not how you should trust information also. A scientist should remain neutral and should always seek out evidence, and hopefully from more than one source. So they're going to work to expand their knowledge. They're going to challenge accepted theories and always see if they're correct by seeing if they can replicate the results in an experiment. And they're going to question results. If somebody brings out and says, I just ran an experiment and I've proven that the COVID-19 virus was caused by eating too many mushrooms, okay? You want to question those results. Let's see your data. Let's see how you did it. Can I replicate your data? Did you ignore things? Did you discard certain things that you shouldn't have? So taking a look and questioning results is a really important part of being a scientist. Being skeptical is really important. I turn to the next page, page 14. This leads to something in science called peer review. Okay, a single experiment is not good science. A single experiment starts a process of sharing your results with other scientists. Other scientists read your results, then see if they can do the exact same experiment and get the exact same results. If many scientists can do the exact same experiment and get the exact same results, and it's a good experiment, then you have passed a process called peer review. And it means your science, your data, your statement that you're trying to make is much more valid. So you should always look for scientists that has been peer reviewed. And peer review takes time. It takes a couple years. So something that just comes out right away that has never been peer reviewed, I would say that should not be accepted. You should be a skeptic to that, okay? All right, we find science everywhere. It's super important to me as your teacher that you learn to evaluate science, be skeptical, work ethically as a scientist. I truly believe that most scientists don't fake data. I think they're good people looking for answers and discovery, but there's bad people in every profession. And so there's a pretty strict code of ethics that scientists are involved in, and that's one of the reasons we had that peer review. All right, and this leads to, that's the end of that chapter. So just a few different sticky notes in this one, and you're done. All right, thanks. Make sure you read the pages that go along with sticky notes. Yes.